March Harbor Management Commission meeting to order March 22nd, and it's 17:17. And we do have a quorum. And has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes? And if there are any corrections or deletions, can we please bring them to our attention right now? Otherwise, I would add. Go
I'll
ahead,
make a
please.
motion to have the minutes approved as they are.
May I have a second on that? What I'm going to do is,
Hey, Tucker, I didn't see any minutes. I didn't get any. Were they supposed to come electronically, or?
they were posted on the Harbor Commission website.
Oh, I did not see them.
Well, then I guess you're gonna have to abstain then.
Yeah.
Grant, you'll have to abstain. All those in favor of the minutes, just designate by aye with a name, please. Hello?
Yep, hold on one second.
Okay.
Okay, I've seen the minutes. They are posted on the city website.
Mark Sakuza is an aye. I just saw him. We're good.
Okay, thank you. Darrell, you're a yes, and Michael? Walter?
I didn't see him. I could look at him right now. Give me a minute. Yeah.
I am an aye on that, by the way. Minutes.
Not the boards and commissions, right?
Yep.
Wait. Bear with me for a second. All right.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now.
Okay.
Give me 2 seconds.
All right,
Okay, I'm an aye. Aye on those.
I'm an
Okay.
aye.
Who was that last responder?
Grant Nundorf.
Grant, thank you very much. So we have all ayes, so the minutes will carry. Community policing report. We do not have a community policing report. And I've asked the chief for someone to either in writing or appear, and have not got a response back yet. Have a master report. I happened to speak with Richard Thayer, who is our harbor master, and his been going on now for a couple of months, and it's unfortunate, but that's how some of these things work. But anyway, they have Richard has found a source through Jeff Stedman, Jeff Stedman has found a source. And Richard has followed up on them, on that lead with someone from Deep. And there is a sum of money available. Now it's a case of finding out who the direct owner is. We thought it was someone from Massachusetts, Maynard, Massachusetts. As it turns out, it's someone from Wallingford, Connecticut. And we have a vehicle registration on that. And Richard there is pursuing that avenue, and also with the idea of what is it going to cost to get it out. And there are two harbor-related people who are putting numbers together to get the boat up and out of the water. And we'll conclude his report. Any questions?
Could I make a comment, Tucker? Or?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
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 Yeah. The source that Tucker mentioned is the DEEP. They have a fund that they call a Supplemental Environmental Project Fund, which doesn't mean a whole lot to us, but into that fund, they put monies that they collect from people who violate state environmental laws and have to pay a fine. So that's the fund from which we would apply for monies to pay for the removal of the boat. And we have the application form, and it take a little bit of time to fill out, but that could be done fairly quickly. And then attached to that form, we would have to include a professional cost estimate to support, the amount of money that we would be asking for. And I asked the fellow at Deep actually earlier today, how much money might we expect we could request from this fund. And at the time, I didn't know how much the estimated bids might be. So the way we left it is I will, once we know what the bid is or the amount that's necessary for removing the boat, we would then submit this to Mr. Thompson, who's the director of the Land and Water Resources Division, and we'd attach the professional estimate of the removal. But the fellow I talked with today emphasized again that before we can do that, we have to go through the proper legal requirements necessary before the city and the commission can remove the boat. And those involve certain tasks that the harbor master has to pursue or has to do pursuant to the state statutes. But he's apparently is working on that with the DEP boating division now. But
Yes, yes.
So that's where we are. So it looks like there's a good chance to get certainly some money from Deep to remove this, and how much we can expect and how much the city might or someone we might have to get elsewhere depends on the bid that we get for removing it, and how much money Deep decides that they can provide to us out of this fund. So that we've been working on that.
Yeah, I can say, I will say that the boat has been federalized. That means that the Coast Guard has been notified, and they have notified someone from Long Island to come pump all of the diesel fuel out of the ship, out of the boat. So it's not a contaminant in that sense. It's just, it's on the river coming into our community. And that's why I feel it's important to get that boat out of there. Okay. Michael Terry, can you talk a little bit about our finances and where we are, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, revenue year to date is $7,000. Last month, we had an expense for our half of the Harbor Cam, $75.40. Year to date expenditures, $1,223. Our income year to date is $5,776.80. We currently have available to us $20,709.11, of which $5,720.32 is restricted for the harbor management plan, and we have unrestricted funds $14,988.79. And below the grant analysis, it goes into more detail on the grant analysis and how we got to the restricted $5,720.32.
Any questions from anyone? Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Do we have any new business?
You got to vote on it, Tucker.
Oh, pardon
I'll
me.
make a motion to accept the financial report as read.
Have a
Sakuza, second.
All those in favor, please designate by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm in favor of it.
Mike Galtieri, aye.
Mark Sakuza, aye.
Thank you very much. Old business. We have the Race Coastal Engineering. We are working with them on coming up with numbers for the pilings to support the docks. And Race has put some numbers together. And this is, of course, we know that the docks had some deterioration, and it was recommended by Race and by Race that we place them. So we have numbers to work from, and these are only guidelines so that when we do go out for a bid, we will know where we are. And you should have all received a copy of this. This was sent from the city manager's office yesterday.
Yep.
No?
I have it.
You haven't?
I have. This is Mike Galtieri. I have it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have seen it.
Okay. Well, they range from the very low, which is $586,000, which is very much where we are right now, in replacing the docks. And then we go to the middle range, which is $831,900. And that's probably, I did meet with John Solomon and Pat McCormick and Bob Castanova, and that seems to be where a pretty realistic number. And the high of that, by the way, is $1,013,800. That's way out there, but they were good enough to give us a range to work with, and so now we have to, in time, go for with an RFP to see if we can come up with this, to see what the actual numbers are. But that's going to be determined ultimately by the Port Authority, and maybe Jeff could touch down with what the process Port Authority is.
Just briefly, the estimate that we had when we applied for the grant from the Port Authority, the initial grant, was $680,000 for the project. And that involved a 20% city cost share. So we received $544,000 in the grant from the Port Authority. And then, of course, we had not included the cost of replacing the pilings. And so that with that understanding, Mr. Castronova pointed out the city can't go out to bid without having an assurance that it has sufficient funds to do the project. And so that I think Race did a good job in the opinion of probable cost, since they should. They're a professional engineering firm that does this often. But so if we go by that middle estimate, $831,000, we don't have enough money to put it out to bid yet. So that the way that we've been talking about this with the Port Authority is it would be necessary to apply for a second grant to supplement the first grant. And the way we were directed to do this is to include an additional amount for the pilings, as well as an escalation cost, the Port Authority representative said, Mr. Salvatore, from the original cost estimate. So that the procedure that I assumed that we were following is that we have to, the Port Authority doesn't yet know when they are going to put out this next round of grants. And as you know, the executive director resigned fairly suddenly a couple of weeks ago. So when I talked with Mr. Salvatore last week, he still didn't know when they might put out the notice for the second round of grants. But we can still, but we now have a good opinion of probable cost from a professional engineer on which to base our request for funding, which is what they wanted. And he also said that this was a good learning experience for the Port Authority, because we didn't really have an engineer's opinion of probable cost when we originally submitted the grant application.
Okay.
So I guess not I guess, but the process is we have to wait now until they announce the next round, and then we would be prepared to submit a second grant application for the additional funds that we would need. And then I don't know how the cities that would seem to imply that the city has to provide an additional cost share if it was to be 20% of the total cost. But that's the process as I understand it. And talking with Mr. Salvatore, he it indicated and we should have every expectation of receiving the additional funds.
That's good. We have about a $200,000 deficit. The city's share of that would be about $40,000, and that's what we're looking for. And I think that the case is, will the Port Authority assume what we're doing with the $200,000 and help us by going out for that additional sum of money through this additional grant? I have not talked with Mr. Salvatore. Joe, Jeff, you have. Last week you spoke with him before he went away on vacation, before he had to go to Canada. And what was his feelings there?
We've been talking with him all along, ever since this. We knew that there was a shortcoming, and what he directed us to do was to first of all get an opinion of probable cost for the new cost of the whole project and the new cost and the additional cost of the pilings, and then we would apply for another SHIP grant. What's unknown at the time, though, is when they would announce that next round of grants.
Right.
Have to assume it's going to be sometime. Well, I shouldn't say we have to assume, because who knows with the Port Authority what's happening. But
it took a very long time the first time around.
But they have to demonstrate that they're doing their job properly with the funds that they've been allocated for the next 5 years. But so we could actually start preparing the grant application now. I believe if we agree on that middle, and you say you have, Tucker, that middle what they call it, the middle cost estimate
of 831,000. Yeah. With that shows a deficit of 187,900. And with John and Pat and Bob, we agreed to like $200,000, and the city share will be 40. So give us 240,000, which will certainly cover what we have to. Well, it will help cover what we have to do.
But one thing that Joe did emphasize is don't ask for everything that you think you're going to need, so you don't have to come back a third time. So
I agree.
He was saying that that make this the best project that you can make, and be able to or propose and make it attach a supportive opinion of probable cost. But don't try to cut the costs, he said now, because you don't want to have to come back a third time.
No, that's a great deal. Yeah, I agree, Jeff. Thank you. That's good good comment.
Tucker,
Okay.
Mike Welch here.
Yes. Yeah,
I
Mike.
got a couple things. So Jeff, this estimate, this would suffice for the state? This is all we need to get?
Well, we'll certainly double check it, but that was our understanding. We haven't provided this estimate to Mr. Salvatore, but
Right.
it is an opinion of probable cost. And when I might say that before we had this estimate and before the meeting that Tucker talked about, I asked, we had a low and a mid and a high range, and I asked Joe what we should do about that, and he said, "Well, submit the high range." So I don't know. We have, I think, the information that's needed, but the question is, will he accept that mid range as the
Right.
as the proper submittal?
Okay, and so I'm assuming that it would work the same way as the prior grant, where the state would fund 80% of the additional and the city would need to fund 20% of the additional. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
That's what I'm thinking, and there would be the same approach for reimbursement. And he noted when I talked with him last week that he hasn't received any requests for reimbursement from the city yet. And I think that we were going to request some reimbursement for the additional engineering and cost estimating costs.
Yeah,
I think Race's estimate is $20,000+ for the work that they've
Right.
done.
Yep, we should do that. Okay, so if I'm looking at this, if we submit for 832,000, that would be an additional 168,000 over the 664,000 that was with the first grant. Now, John Salamone, I believe in a couple of weeks, will present his budget for the next fiscal year. I think it's in a couple of weeks or the second week of April. So then if the city is going to have to come up with 20%, I'm looking at about $33,600. And if this is going to tie in sometime late summer or fall, then John would have to include this in his budget so it can be voted on by the council. I'm kind of thinking that's the way this is going to work. Darrell, is that how you would see it?
You're absolutely right. I would expect that because it's an expenditure in this upcoming fiscal year, that it would be wise to put it in the budget, whether it be a line item in the budget or it be a part of the capital, whatever it may be, putting the money in there. And I think, I think it's an easy conversation to have, but he presents his budget on April 4th. And so we still do have time to add it if it's something that needs to be added to the budget. And we can have the conversation with him because he only presents the budget on the 4th. And the council still has several times where they can add or subtract things from the budget. So that's not an issue.
Okay, so Tucker, perhaps you should get to John, like tomorrow and make him aware of this?
Do that.
Okay.
And-
John has
So
looked at,
I'm sorry.
John has looked at all of these numbers, and I think that he can certainly read between the lines. He knows that we're going to be coming back for more money, unfortunately.
But it would have to be approved by the council, so you
Yep.
got to make sure that that's understood.
Maybe we'll have to present to the council for additional $33,600.
Yeah, or John would in his budget. If he includes it in his budget, we don't have to do anything.
Correct.
Okay.
And I'm sorry to interrupt because I know we can't see each other. It's Jeff again. But I think it would also be good, and Joe said he's coming back, Mr. Salvatore, on Friday of this week, and that we could discuss this with him next week. I think would be a good idea to show him this estimate and discuss with him the approach to take that the city is taking now. I'd just like to do that before finalizing, an amount that you'd ask the city council to allocate.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, we as another part of this project, once we realized that we needed to replace those pilings, we needed an additional approval from DEEP to do that. So DACO has been working on that. It's an additional certificate of permission that would supplement the first approval that we received, and the additional certificate is specific to the replacement of the pilings, and we provided to DEEP on Monday a sort of an expanded statement of the importance of this project to the city and to the Harbor Management Commission as additional support for issuance of that certificate. And I think that we should expect that will be issued is in the very near future, which of course we need to apply for the grant from the Port Authority. But I'm confident that we will get that certificate unless there's something very unusual in the near future. But that will be another expense to the project, DACO's cost for putting together that application. And we sent copies of the letter that the additional information on this to the mayor and to the city manager, and that we sent to DEEP, and DEEP was appreciative. We said we hope this not only helps you complete your review, but gives you a greater appreciation of the Norwich waterfront and the opportunities that are there, that are here. Yeah.
No,
Thank
Jeff,
you.
you did a very nice job, Jeff. Thank you.
And I'm sorry to keep talking, you're probably wincing, but we had also discussed having Mr. Salvatore and Mr. Henshaw, who was the executive director, visit Norwich and go down to the park and talk about it with us and look at other opportunities on the waterfront. And Joe said he was agreeable to doing that, and then Mr. Henshaw suddenly resigned a couple of weeks ago. Well, that doesn't mean we can't have Joe come up here himself, but there is some uncertainties with the Port Authority now. But they have the money. They have the authorization to spend this money, and if they don't do it, it will look like they're not doing the job that they were supposed to do.
I don't know how quickly they will replace that executive director of the Port Authority. I'm sure they're all scrambling around now with names trying to find somebody. And John Henshaw is going to be there through the end of April. So I don't know if we should have John and Joe come up now, and then have that patched into what we're trying to accomplish. And Jeff, you might shed some light on this too. Do you think between now and the end of April we can have them come up and talk with them, and will it carry any weight with the rest of the Port Authority?
I would not be optimistic that Mr. Henshaw would come, but I think we could certainly have Joe come up. I certainly ask him, and
yeah, okay.
It's not that far to come from Old Saybrook to drive up to Norwich, and I think that would be a good thing for him to do. Okay.
And at the same time, maybe you could accompany that field trip.
Oh yes, yeah. But
okay, sounds good. So you're going to talk with Joe when he gets back on this Friday, the 29th.
Well, he
No.
said he was driving, up to Canada, and I don't tell stories, and he said, "Don't call me until I get back." And I said, "Okay."
Very relaxed too.
He was joking, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was joking.
So he'll be back on the 18th, maybe Monday of the 21st.
No, he's coming back this Friday. He's only gone for a week, so I can talk with him Friday or Monday at the latest, and see if we can.
Friday, 25th, or Monday the 28th. Okay. Okay. So we've covered race engineering and Port Authority. Anything else, Jeff, you'd like to shed some light on? I know we're looking for different things to do on the Thames River.
Well, one other thing back to the harbor master. I don't know if you mentioned this, Tucker, but we sent a letter to the governor
Right.
recommending Mr. Thayer's reappointment. And,
I did not.
Okay, And a copy of that letter went to the city manager and to the mayor, and we talked about it with Deep at length, and the statute still, the state statute still requires that 3 names be submitted to the governor, with the opportunity for the commission to identify a preferred candidate. However, in the situation where the commission can't find 3 names or doesn't have 3 viable candidates, then we were told that we could submit just 1 name and request the reappointment, and that's what we did in the letter, and noted that, you know, no one has come forward with an interest in being the harbor master, and no one is aware on the commission of anybody else who is interested, and therefore the commission is submitting just the 1 name. So we submitted that letter, interestingly, to the governor's office, to the person we were told to submit it to, and then soon after heard back from DEP saying that person is no longer handling this, and directing us to send it to 2 other people in the governor's office, the letter requesting the reappointment, which we did. So right away, but we did change the addressees at the top to the people that we were asked to send it to. And I don't believe, Tucker, you've heard back any confirmation that they received. I know the DEP received it, but we didn't get any confirmation back from the governor's office that I'm aware of. So
No, I'm aware of. I did speak with Susan Beisowitz, and she pretty much reiterated what you said about, you know, she's lieutenant governor, we needed, the statute says we need 3 people. But I personally have asked 2 people who have boats at the marina, and they just have no interest. They don't want to be involved in it.
well, but they recognize that not all towns can, you know, will there be 3 qualified candidates. So we followed their instructions and said that the commission was not able to submit 3 names, and submitted just 1 name for the governor's reappointment. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Okay. So next item we have to talk about is growing shells, and we're still, I'm meeting with someone from Board of Education Friday morning at 8:30, and hopefully we'll have some, we can go a little bit further along than where we are. We're still locked up in the Mohegan Park with all the shells. So that's where we are, and it's all about getting young people out on the river and getting them eligible for Title IX programs with some of these Ivy League colleges. And not sure where that's going to go right now. The sunken boat, we've talked about that with Rich Thayer's comments to me. And I've actually had a conversation with Michael Driscoll, and hopes that he will send a letter to the rightful owner of this and start the legal process through Rich Thayer.
And remember again that the legal process, Tucker, is a state process that we were directed to follow. You know, and the boating division was to direct us how to do it. So it's with reference to state statutes, and the harbor master has the authority, you know, to do that. So
yes,
apparently he's working with Deep on that. But it's not local authorities that are applied. It's the state authorities of the harbor master.
Right. He understands that, and he's doing a pretty good job of following that up. Okay, Jeff, one more time for you. Harbor management plan. How are we doing?
Well, we're making progress. I updated the drawings. I took the old infrared maps in Chapter 6 and replaced them with the most recent good resolution Google Earth images, and I've been talking with Deep about this and with discussions. And the most significant issue that we have now affecting approval of the plan, of the update of the plan, is again related to this court case that started in Greenwich, where the judge, and it's in the appeals court now, where the Superior Court judge ruled that a harbor management commission has no authority to review applications for deep approvals or to make any recommendations to deep. So we talked about this with deep, and I said, well, that would invalidate, in effect, the existing harbor management plans, all of them, which have and of course the Norwich plan, that includes a basic responsibility of the Harbor Management Commission to review applications for deep permits and make recommendations, anything that requires a deep permit. And that deep understands the uncertainties about this, and whether those sorts of authorities specified in the harbor management plan need to be removed. And I said that would basically invalidate and make everything that we've been doing for all these years, moot, if that's the right term. So the talking with other towns and the legal directors in other towns. I say the legal directors, in several other towns, but also all of the other harbor commissions. The sense is that we need to wait and see what the appellate court decides, because it's come up in talking too much here, but here's an example in Norwalk, where there's a big project that's affecting the city of Norwalk. It requires deep approval, and it involves a big impact on the city, which is replacing a 100-year-old railroad bridge over the harbor. And in the course of the ongoing public hearing, the hearing officer has emphasized to the Harbor Commission, which caused a bit of annoyance to say the least, that based on this court decision, the Harbor Commission's comments will be treated in the same manner as general public comments, which means that they don't have any special standing other than just like a public, member of the general public commenting, and that's really considered as a diminishment of home rule and of municipal authority. So how it gets resolved is really something that's of concern to everybody.
I don't think that. I think that they have to find that a harbor management commission. I think Joel Severin says it very well, that that's the local. They represent the local citizenry, and I think that that's the important thing that has to be presented to whomever. That not everybody can take time off to go testify that this is the right thing to do. And
but the certainly agree, and that was the intent of the harbor management legislation. But the judge in this case in Greenwich specifically said that there is no authority for in the statutes for a harbor management commission to review and make recommendations on matters before the deep permits. And then the question is, what happens when the attorney for an applicant says, that you don't have to listen to the Harbor Commission. They don't have any authority. And so that's deep recognizes that's a significant consideration. But I can't imagine that they would just eliminate that. The end result will be to anyway. I'm sorry to be going on about this.
I can't imagine that either, because someone wants something to do with a river or a cove along the Connecticut coast. Are they going to go to the deep in Hartford, or are they going to go to their local commission, and then the local commission will then bring it to deep? That's it's not everybody has to take off to go to Hartford for testimony.
Well, I think maybe between now and it's not clear how long the appellate court will take to make the decision. They've heard the oral arguments, but we have a proposal for amending the Harbor Management Act that would clarify these Harbor Management Commission authorities that have always been implemented or applied. And the question is, can we get support in the legislature for an amendment to the legislation, depending on what the outcome is of the appeals court. But in the meantime, we're not we're not suggesting that we remove from the existing harbor management plan these authorities. We're pursuing them as if these are the right things to have in the plan. The commission's recommendations are supposed to be given substantial weight, and the commission reviews all applications for deep permits. And then let deep say that we're not going to approve that anymore, or you have to take it out of the plan. That's well. Anyway, I'm sorry to go on about this.
No, that's all right.
Next month we'll have, and I've been talking with the person who's reviewing our plan, who is also processing the certificate of permission application for the additional work at Brown Park. So she's been responsive and helpful, and we've had good discussions. She's relatively new at DEEP. And the other part of this is that we've learned that up to a third of the DEEP employees may retire this summer, along with DOT employees, and that will be but anyway, again, sorry to keep talking. We're working on all of this stuff and trying to do the best we can.
Okay. Do we have any citizens who will make any comments?
No one.
You have someone?
Nope, we have no one.
Okay. Anything else that we want to discuss, the Harbor Management Commission? Then I would certainly entertain an idea to adjourn this meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Have a second?
Mike, second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Listen,
Mark Secuzzo, aye. Thank you, Jeff.
hey,
Good night, everybody.
Hey, before we all leave, I really thank you for your time and your thoughts that go into this. It was a little bit late at getting this posted, and hopefully we can get this cleared up so we have a little bit more time to think about what we're doing. But there was a whole packet of information that was sent out by the city manager's office that shows pretty much what we've been discussing, very much what we've been discussing with Race, the engineering firm, and the spreadsheet. But so if you have a chance, please look it all over. And this is our chance to make some headway in this Thames River, guys and girls. And I hope that we can do it.
Absolutely.
Okay? Thank you very much.
Have a good
Good,
one.
everybody.
Okay,
Bye.
have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Be well.
We,